You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Yes, man. We're back into it again. I am so excited. This is legendary status. I gotta say this before I even introduce our guest, right? 2024 somehow is just bringing so much greatness. You know, you can't settle for good when you understand great, you know? And that's what's in studio today, man. For me, it's an absolute honor. You know, that's why I have to give you your flowers before we even introduce you to everyone else. All right. But to our viewers back at home, welcome to another exciting and brand new episode of Next Gen Plumbers. Now, Mandy, usually at this time, I would have a sound effect that goes, yeah. So this is where we just clap our hands, you know, show our viewers that, you know what, we're back in the business and there's only greatness that's about to happen. And as I did say, ladies and gentlemen, today's episode is just going to be mind-blowing because it's all about continuous professional development. But before get it, yes, man. Come on. But before we get into that, ladies and gentlemen, with us on our lovely set, as you can see, we've upgraded a little bit, right? Yeah, even the lighting is working.
It looks great.
It looks great, right?
It looks amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, she's the co-owner of the UPP Group and also significant member of CoachUp. If I had to tell you her profile, I mean, the list is endless. Such a significant contributor to the plumbing industry of South Africa. When we talk about leaders, when we talk about people adding value, these are the names we talk about. The one, the only, Mandy Kiel.
Yeah! Thank you, Rendani. I'm in the presence of greatness this morning.
Come on.
So I'm humbled.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so happy that you're here, Mandy. You know, there's something special about this year, and I believe there's so much value that the industry is going to get, but we're going to see the results as well. And with people like yourself, I have to say this, you know, people usually give other people flowers when they're gone. I want to give you your flowers because UPP Group, you guys are adding tremendous knowledge, value, significant development, growth within the plumbing industry of South Africa. So on behalf of everyone who's benefited from that, on behalf of everyone who's still going to benefit from you, on behalf of everyone who's going to be enlightened today, we want to say thank you.
No, thank you, Rendani. Thank you for having me here, guys.
We're doing it again, yeah?
Yeah, we're doing it again.
at a much bigger and better scale. But Mandy, we're going to jump straight into it, right? We're talking about the importance of continuous professional development and how that adds value to a plumber or plumbing organization. And obviously there's a ripple effect. It's not just about them gaining that information, that knowledge, but that knowledge has to send into something significant, which overall will add value in the plumbing industry of South Africa. And obviously we know about the UPP Group. We know about how much value you're adding, but I don't think we know enough yet. Hence, we're going to touch on it. But for people who don't know, you know, who is Mandy Kiel? Let's talk about the UPP Group and CoachUp. Just give us a brief understanding of what people need to understand.
Okay, so I've always been passionate about development, about growth, about especially self-development.
Yes.
But I think the more important factor for me is that when you are growing is not to hold on to that for yourself.
Come on.
Learning and developing is about sharing.
Yeah.
And one of the sayings that I love, and it's by John Maxwell.
Yeah.
He says that if you are the cleverest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Come on.
Yes, man.
Come on. Yes, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's one thing that I've learned is that in order to grow or have a growth mindset, as they say, is that you have to be humble.
Yes.
Because once you have that know-it-all attitude, you've kind of lost it. You get
100%.
stuck. So my background actually I come from a corporate background. Most of my life I'd been in corporate.
Come on.
But in corporate I coached and I mentored, etc. That was my main role over there. And then I moved and I joined Duncan in the business in 2008.
Okay.
It was Under Pressure Plumbing at the time.
Yes.
We evolved from there to UPP Group and CoachUp. The UPP stands for, so like I said, it used to stand for Under Pressure Plumbing.
Yes.
That's when we were very boxed in, like a lot of people in that plumbing industry.
Yes.
But we've evolved and we've grown since then. And we've always been passionate about empowerment, about developing, about sharing our knowledge, our growth, what we've learned with others. And so the UPP now stands for Unlocking People's Potential, both within the UPP Group and outside of the UPP Group.
Come on.
And into the industry. We're passionate about being a part of this industry. We love the plumbing industry.
Yeah.
So wherever we invited or can get involved, that's where we're going to be.
Come on. No, I love that. It takes me back to leadership. It takes me back. We've had this chat, off the discussion, but it takes me back to leadership. And I know I have to mention the late Mr. Anton Venter. Man, legend. Yeah. I know he's with us. Yeah, you know. And I mean, when we speak leadership, I remember when we defined leadership, we said leadership is using our God-given influence to put people in better positions so that they're able to empower themselves as well as the next generation. Teaching someone to be empowered so that they can empower the next generation. It's got that domino effect. Now, if we align that to continuous professional development, bring it back to the plumbing industry, why is it so important? And I know for someone who perhaps is consistent in CPD, they're going to say that's a cliche question, but let's talk about, because there's a stereotype around CPD. There's this, I don't need to do this. I've been in the industry for 40 years. I know everything, Why should plumbers continuously be active when it comes to CPD?
Yeah. So the first thing, I'm going to say again, humility is an important quality. And if anyone was the epitome of that, it was Mr. Anton Venter.
Yes.
He was this great giant of a man and a giant in leadership development and so involved in trying to help professionalize our industry. He's involved in putting the master plumber program together and so forth. And if there's one thing that I'm going to say is you never know it all.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And through Mr. Anton Venter, Anton in last year got me involved in being a part of the CPD committee.
Yes.
And also, upon his passing, I was then asked, and I was very intimidated at the time, but I was asked to fill his shoes as being an adjudicator on the Master Plumber program for the thesis development component of it, etc. And so I come into the presence of who I consider the great guys in this industry, the Steve Browns, the Richard Baileys, the Duncan Kiels, the Adrian Venters, Nick, all of those guys were Nick, and they are big guys in the industry. And I have never, ever experienced such humility as well. If anyone epitomizes and is exemplary in showing the younger generation of the need for continuous development, it's those guys.
Yes.
They're
living it.
They live it. They are always learning. And let's face it, in the environment that we're in, just from the technical side of things, things are evolving. There's always new technology coming out, new ways of doing things, new products. So if you are not going to be open to learning new things, just in terms of your practical plumbing skill, you're going to fall behind. You're going to be dead in the water, So you've got to be willing to want to change. And then there's the other aspect of it, and that is being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, learning, even if you're not a business owner, even if you're in a company, learning things like project management, financial budgets, management, how to run. So you become invaluable to the business that you work for. As an entrepreneur, you become that great business owner. You become a successful business, and you can contribute back into the industry.
Come on.
And, just as an example, I mentioned that I was asked to be an adjudicator for the thesis
for the Master Plumber
designation. For the Master Plumber designation. So here are these guys, these great giants, and one of the things that Anton had them all do as part of the program was go and write a thesis. None of them had written a thesis before. There was never ever a requirement of them in their career or in their plumbing qualification when they were doing their plumbing qualification to write a thesis. And
it's quite intimidating, the word itself.
Yeah, don't tell them, hey, but I mean, most of those guys are quite an age already. So
we call it vintage, you know?
But they all took this on board. And the thesis, the level of commitment they had in putting and effort that they put into those thesis development and the presentations that they put together and the content that came out of that was phenomenal.
Come on.
So they didn't say, why do I have to do this?
I've got
been a
so
plumber,
much experience.
etc.
Yeah.
I am a master. I've got the master plumber designation. Why do I
Yes.
have to do this type of thing? They took it on board and they showed us how you never too vintage to learn something new, to do
Yes.
something different. So there is a lot to learn from those guys.
Yeah. I love what you brought in, because I think the biggest issue when people think I know it all, they just simply look at the technical side, you know, the operational physical work, and perhaps ignore the holistic part of running an organization. Because being a plumber, at the end of the day, you still need an income. Your business needs to operate, it needs to survive, it needs to grow. But for that to happen, you have to acquire those skills. And I think that's where you come in. You know, when we speak UPP and when we speak Coach Up, it's such an important part of the industry. I'm going to change this up. Before we even started our podcast, you said something very significant. You touched on, and I call it the boss method. I know I might find the words incorrect, but the boss approach when it comes to what you guys do when you help an entity in the plumbing industry. Can we touch on that? I know that you mentioned that there's 6 components that come into that, and especially for anyone who's listening right now who perhaps has an organization but is struggling with you know, certain things. I think this is something that's going to add tremendous value. Can we touch on that boss approach?
So BOSS, BOS, not BOSS.
Come on.
BOS stands for Business Operating System. And every single business out there, whether you call it a BOSS or not, whether you call it a Business Operating System or not, will have certain elements of it in their business.
Yes.
Whether you do it intentionally or not. So what that means is that every single business runs on certain, what I call systems. Okay. And your system, so the BOSS approach that we've incorporated into the UPP Group is something called EOS. It stands for Entrepreneurial Operating System.
Okay.
And it was developed by a guy called Gino Wickman. So when we have plumbers coming into our business through Coach Up, so we coach other plumbing businesses in how to implement a business operating system into the business to make their business run more smoothly, efficiently, profitably, effectively, etc. And within that system, there are 6 components, as you mentioned. So the first thing that we always touch on with them is they come in and we'll say, okay, so tell us about your business.
Yes.
What are you about?
Yes.
What's your vision for your business? And do you know what the common answer is when we ask what people's vision is for the business?
I want my business to be the best.
Yes. Okay. We are going to be the best plumbing business. We're going to provide you with the best service, etc.
Yes.
But every other plumbing business, every other competitor that you have is saying
it's a common thing.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So what makes you you? What is it what's that target? If I had to turn the word vision to a 10-year target that you're trying to achieve. So for example, UPP's 10-year target is to empower 100,000 men and women, of which 50% is women, in our industry over the next 10 years through sustainable smart solutions into our industry. Okay, so it's very specific.
That is actually powerful. Did you guys hear that? 100,000.
Yeah.
Within the next 10 years.
Yes. Okay. So we've got our vision up in our boardroom, and it's got the day we created that vision.
Yeah.
And so on the 6th of April 2032 is the 10-year mark. So we're going to have a massive celebration.
Come on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're working towards it. But it's something specific that you're working towards. So we bring the guys in, and so the first thing we work on with them is their vision and their values.
Yes.
And to do that, we break it down into what is their why. Why are they, number one, in this industry? Why are they running their business? What is it that gets them up in the morning? We look at their personal whys, the things that incentivize them to get out of bed. So whether it's their family, they want an overseas trip, they want to buy a mansion, they want whatever, I don't know, whatever their why is, that's going to drive them, that's going to create
that target.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is their why? And from that, we then bring it into alignment with their business wise.
Yes.
And from there, they will develop. We go through a whole process. We've got a structured process we go through, and through that, they then establish what their specific vision or target is, 10-year target is. And we also help them to establish their values for their business.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
your values are not things like, I know a lot of people say the values are things like integrity.
Yeah, I was thinking to that. That's what I had in mind.
And
yeah.
I'm saying to you, if your value is integrity, then that's kind of lame, because shouldn't you have integrity anyway?
It's a standard formality.
Yeah, it's a standard formality.
Okay.
Okay. So like our values are around putting our clients and company first. It's about being humbly confident. It's about being solution driven.
Ooh.
It's about empowerment, empowering yourself and empowering others. And our fifth value is excellent, being excellent in everything. And excellence, I'll come back to that later. Excellence is not perfection, because none of us are perfect. We all stumble, we all fall, etc. Excellence is putting your 100%, your 200% into everything that you are doing.
As long as you left nothing behind, you've given it all.
You've given it your
Okay.
oomph into something.
I have to just jump in there. I think that's so important that you highlight that. I've always viewed excellence as, and I think I speak on behalf of a lot of people, which puts so much unnecessary pressure on someone. I've viewed excellence as a high level achievement, making sure you get that 80% to 100, and if actually you personify it, it's actually about giving that 100%, instead of necessarily looking at the results. Obviously, the outcome is important, but what matters is you giving everything you have. I love that. I love that. Yeah.
So that's what we do. And so that's just one component of the 6 components.
Yeah.
The others touches on processes. All businesses have processes. It will have an HR process, operations process, a marketing process, sales process, all of those type of things. So we help them to develop that for their business.
Okay.
You have data. How do you store your data? How do you communicate your data? What do you do? A lot of the guys out there are still using, and I'm not putting anyone down, to send anyone.
No, let's keep it real, Mandy. Let's keep it real.
Everyone is still keeping their handwritten thing, bookie, whatever, okay?
Logbooks there, but it's still written. And capturing it still in the old school way. Put it right, keep it real, Mandy.
And you know what? That is costly. Because it draws out the entire process.
Yeah.
And people are afraid of putting systems in place. When I say systems, I'm talking about a software package.
Yes.
So we work very closely with Surfcraft, for example, and we've gotten some of our guys that we coach from the paper-based thing onto Surfcraft. And it's been a game changer for them.
Yeah.
Instead of writing out a job card, this, that, whatever, they go in, they open something on their system, Rendani wants this done, it automatically goes into the assessment, the job card, generates the invoice, and it connects to the bank. It just is a seamless process.
But Mandy, let's not romanticize it. This is where now I'm coming in. All right, let's keep it real.
Let's keep it real.
I understand what you're saying. All right, technology is very intimidating to a lot of people.
Yes, it is.
People are still struggling with WhatsApp, believe it or not. And I'm not meaning that in a jokingly way. It's actually the reality.
No, it's a real thing.
You'll find a plumber that's excellent at the work.
Yes.
But when it comes to purchasing a COC, they'll rather drive from wherever they go just to come and purchase a hard copy. Because digitally they are intimidated, they are nervous. It really scares them. How do we approach to those people? Because they are a huge target. They're a huge part of the industry. And I want to speak on their behalf, because I feel like we have, and I say this we tend to neglect them. And, but they still keep going the old school way. But the old school way is costing them. How do we change that? That mindset of, sister, come on, learn this. This will make your life easier. How do we break that apart?
I think you're right. It is a huge challenge. And it's something that, not just on the technology side, but just as an aside, that we're also working on the CPD side.
Yes.
Myself and Nick and Steve, etc. We're trying to find ways that we can make earning CPD points more accessible to everyone, because not everyone has access to earning CPD points by listening to a vodcast, for
100%.
example. Okay, so how do we make things more accessible? But at the same time, how do we move people to a point where they start feeling comfortable with being able to access things in a technological way,
Yes.
and take that fear away. And I think for me, the only way to do that is to create environments where you can bring people in and do it alongside with them.
Show them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Show them how to do it. So I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn here, because we've just started having this conversation. But Duncan and myself met with Charles and John T from Surfcraft about a week ago. So we're looking to create workshops.
Yes.
We can bring the guys in and work, so they can come and sit with us physically.
Yes.
And show them. They must bring what they've got, how they currently work it, and then we will show them, hold their hands in terms of
through it.
And listen, maybe it's not the most efficient way. Maybe, I don't know, if there are people out there who have better ways of doing it, they must share it with us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers, guys.
No, but at least you're taking a step towards
Yeah.
bridging that gap and solving that.
Exactly. And so we need to start somewhere. So that's where we want to start. And then, from there we can spread it around. We can show people how to do it. We can show people how to run the workshops. And it doesn't have to be with that specific product, etc. But I'm saying that there are ways, but it takes people to want to come alongside.
Yes.
And for me, that's the other important thing that I want to just touch on when it comes to development. I said earlier on that growth, and Anton was very vocal about this as well. Growth is not ever meant to just be for yourself.
100%.
Okay. You mentioned God, if you use the analogy of that, how things spread, it was about being a disciple and creating other disciples and creating other disciples, etc., and things spreading. And that's how things must happen. So in how we do things within UPP Group, we've got a system that we call 369. So someone will come alongside us. So I'll use an example. We've got the guy, Ruben Plumcole. He's just one of our students. So that comes for coaching. He is dedicated.
Shout out to Ruben.
He shows up all the time. He's got such an open mind to learning and stepping into his uncomfortable zone. And so for me, that's why I'm referring to him, because he is, you've got to have an attitude for wanting to grow, and he epitomizes that attitude. So shout out to him.
Come on.
Amen. So we bring somebody like Ruben in, and Duncan, he comes for coaching every Thursday religiously, 7 a.m. He's there. And in those sessions, we touch on things like the operating systems, the how to do things, the admin, almost like the admin side, but also the leadership side of things. So we touch on the soft skills. We do all of those kind of trainings, your vision, values, processes, etc., within that session. But then in addition to that, we then say, okay, so it's one thing doing in a classroom setting. When it's out there in the real world, it's very different. So now we'll take someone that we're coaching, and then we will say, okay, we've got these projects that have come through the UPP Group that we're now going to involve you in. So we start off small with maintenance stuff. So we would then contact Ruben if there are different maintenance jobs that come up, and so that he can now implement the processes that we have trained him, from how to do job codes properly, all of that type of thing, how to communicate with the client, how to keep clients informed, how to explain what the solution is. Because I think that I'm not saying this about Ruben, but just generally in the industry, that's lacking. Guys just pitch up. I experience this all the time when I have other service providers coming into my house, whether it's to fix my fence alarm or whatever it is. They just pitch up, do their thing. They don't communicate with me, and then off they go, and I just get this invoice, and I don't even know what's going on. So all of those things, so they get to practice that, all the way to making sure invoices are correct, the payments in, etc. So we take them on that journey, and then we start involving them in bigger projects. So it could be fit outs, it could be replacing. We've had subcontractors. Sorry, we don't call them subcontractors. We call them uplifters. If Duncan was here, he would have quickly corrected me.
I see what you did there, even with the
uplifters. Absolutely. But there's a reason for that as well. Subcontractors get given jobs. It's like a handout. whereas we about empowerment. So we giving you a job, but we're not just giving you a job so that we're giving you a handout. There is an expectation that we have from from our uplifters, and that is that they are learning something. So the 369 is that we show them something. We show them. We say 369. It might be more than 3 times that we'll show them something, depending on the scale of the project, etc. That's involved. So we show them, then we give them something to do in that field. So whether it's maintenance, a project, or it could be a massive, big sustainability project that we're busy with, that they've grown into. So they do it 3 times, and we do it alongside with them. So we project manage it, we guide them through the whole process, etc. So we hold their hand, and then we have an expectation that they then, and that's the 9 part, that they then take that and they show somebody else.
It brings about this now, because I think this is where there's so much that's invested into the development process. Let's talk benefits. Let's specifically talk about the outcome. And I think this is what people will probably connect with more than anything. All right. If you are holistically developing this person from a financial perspective, communication perspective, leadership perspective, obviously you will assist in their technical abilities as well. What's the desired outcome, and how does that benefit impact the industry at large?
So, I think there's that saying that we want to professionalize the industry.
Yes.
And I think that is something that both our officer PIRB have been working really, really effectively in that space and put in a lot of energy and resources into that. But I think that down on the ground, there is a role for your experienced plumbers out there. And they are amazing. I mean, we come into contact with guys and their skill sets are so amazing. And what we want to do is say, guys, come, let us all. It doesn't just have to be UPP Group. There is so much to be done. We say, let's all get on board here, and give back, and show people how to do things. Because through that, when we talk about professionalizing the industry, I think when you experience, and what we experience on a daily basis, is that there's a word I'm looking for.
It's going to come.
Cannot
it's
get to it
come.
now. Okay? But it's the gap. Let's just call it the gap. That's not the word, but it's that gap. Where you're dealing with a consumer, and a consumer, what do they, sorry, consumer, I'm not putting you down, but let's face it, the consumer does not know plumbing. Okay, so now you're going to go and you are this professional plumbing company, and you're going to go and give a quotation, a costing out, based on your experience, based on knowing that this is the correct solution, based on knowing that you're using the correct products, that they're all above board, etc., compliance, everything is in place. And you're going to go compete against someone who does not have that in place. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the guy standing out there saying, I'm a plumber. Sometimes it could be a plumbing business, but let's face it, they're not trained how to be professionals at a college level. They're learning how to plumb.
Technical side.
They're learning technical stuff. And there are great colleges doing great jobs on the technical side, but there is a big gap in teaching that professional side and how to be an entrepreneur and how to be with your clients. The soft skill side of it is missing. And so I think that is where we're wanting to come in. And the benefit is to the client, to the plumber, is that they start being seen as a professional by the clients. They start having value. If we compare ourselves, because Duncan and I speak to a lot of manufacturers and things like that all over the world, because that's the other thing that maybe I'd just like to touch on. Is but when we speak to people in Australia or the UK or the States or wherever it is that we are busy putting our paws into, plumbers are seen very differently compared to over here. They're seen as professionals. Nobody questions them that why are you charging me a call out, or how do you get to this hourly rate? Because I've experienced this where consumer looks at the hourly rate and they look at the plumber coming in to do the job, and unfortunately this is a reality, and they'll say, but you don't pay that guy that per hour. And I'm saying, but do you understand that an hourly rate is not based on his salary, it's based on my operational costs for the business. So there's a lot of education that needs to be done, both on the plumber and the consumer side. And this is also where I'm finding it so important to get involved in helping guys understand the business side of their business.
Yes.
Because if I go and ask a plumber, I'm going all over the show here. If I
No,
go
no,
and
no.
ask a
I love
plumber,
it.
if I go
Yeah.
and ask a plumber, how do they get to the hourly rate? Most of them don't know, because I know this through our coaching.
Yeah, the ratings are quite a difficult one.
They'll
Yeah.
say, Duncan, a few years ago, he created a WhatsApp group called the Plumber with Passion Group. And there's a lot of plumbers from all over South Africa on there, different regions, etc., different levels of experience. And the amount of times I will see someone put a comment on there, guys, what are you charging for geyser installation? Or what are you charging for a blockage? Or what? So that's how so the next guy also goes and charges the same rate. They're not looking at their marketing costs, their admin costs, their salaries that they're paying, their insurance, their this, all of those things that they've got to cover. And then they can't figure out why they can't make ends meet at the end of the day. Because every business is different. And you need to be charging based on your operational costs, your experience, your value that you're adding into the industry. And so just to come back to your question on where is it going to make a difference, it's in that. It's going to give you your value. I think the guys undervalue themselves. And if we can help them see what their value is through this, then I think we have won something.
Hit the nail on the head right there. It's the esteem. You can't give what you don't have. I've always believed that it starts within. If one feels empowered, you deliver different results. You find that in sports. When you feel good, you do good. And it's that I believe that you're trying to achieve. And I have to say this, I know this is totally off script, Mandy. I've been hitting you with off script topics, but that's the beauty of talking to Mandy, because the conversation is just, I'm learning while you're speaking as well. But what I want to touch on is, and I have to give you a highlight, and I'm going back to giving credibility, because you guys are adding so much value. And there's a reason why in 2023, all right, at the Iopa Awards, I have to say this, Mandy's probably like, don't. I'm gonna do it, all right? UPP won, I think, Company of the Year, Organization of the Year. Now, this is a reflection. It means that you guys are actually doing so well. And the industry is recognizing you. People are seeing it. You could have decided to focus on profits because you have so much expertise, but you're actually working on people development. I'm going to continuously emphasize that you guys are pioneers, leaders of this industry. And I believe there was no mistake when that award was given to you guys. This is, once again, I think, let's give it, you got to clap your hands this time, man. You got to clap your hands this time.
I am going to say, well, thank you. Thank you for that, Rendani. But I think Dunks and I were both very surprised.
I was there that night. I was like,
it was unexpected. And we were very honored to have received that recognition. I think Duncan said it at the time, is that we didn't do it by ourselves. Okay. And I think that's something important that everyone needs to recognize, that we're all on a journey. And what I love about our industry is that we are a community.
Come on.
We are a community. And I've experienced that in so many ways. And we would not have been able to achieve what we have achieved. And I love the fact that you spoke about profits, because if you're going to look at us for profits, you're looking at the wrong place. There's a lot of what we do, we don't even charge for that. So we give it for free.
That's the beauty of it.
We're about adding value where we can. And it's not, all businesses, guys, don't get me wrong. We're in business to make money, so don't get me wrong. But it's more than that. For Duncan and myself, it's about leaving a legacy behind, and not a legacy about Duncan or Mandy, a legacy in our industry about having somehow, even in some small way, having contributed to raising the bar in terms of how the rest of the country sees plumbing in South Africa. Because for me, plumbing is such an amazing occupation. It's an amazing career.
Mandy, we transport the most valuable commodity
Absolutely.
on earth, which
Absolutely.
is water. More valuable than diamonds and gold.
You know, Rendani,
Yeah.
if people think that they are battling with power, and let's face it, power
Yeah.
outages are
The load
really-
shedding scenario. Yeah.
It's nasty.
Yeah.
Okay. But let me tell you, try and live without water.
Water shedding. Oh my goodness.
Try and live without water.
Oh my
It
goodness.
is completely, it's
a
one
different
up
ballgame.
from power.
Yeah.
And in fact, in order to have electricity, you have to have water.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
okay?
I know the
So-
electricians like debating us about this. But you've got a point. I can always switch a candle on.
Yeah.
But you can't really replace water.
No.
You can't,
No.
you know, and there's nothing artificial you can, whatever's going to be artificial still requires this to make it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Valid point.
So I mentioned, you know, so we're big. So as a company, UPP Group, our target is smart, sustainable water solutions.
Yes.
And empowering 100,000 men and women to get involved in that. Because for our country going forward, water it's already a crisis.
Yeah.
Okay. We've all experienced it. We're already at a crisis level with regards to water.
Yes.
So if we're just going to sit back and do nothing,
Yeah.
okay, then we're going to lose
Gonna have
this
a
game.
problem. Yeah.
We are in an industry where we can make a contribution and we can make a difference. So I want to challenge the guys out there. Yes, we are always going to need maintenance plumbing done.
Yes.
Given, okay, that geyser needs to be replaced, that
Yes.
drip needs to be fixed, that blockage needs to be unblocked, etc. But all plumbers can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have an opportunity to get involved in making a difference in the future of our country
Yes.
through water. So get involved.
Yeah.
Okay, contact us if you don't know
There
how
we
to get
go.
involved.
There we go.
But our main focus and our passion is on the rainwater harvesting side.
Yes.
That's what we love. We're currently working very closely with a company in Australia called Rainwater Harvesting Australia. They're part of a group called Blue Mountain. They do all the pre-filtration stuff. So we're busy communicating with them at the moment about putting together training on pre-water filtration products. A lot of our guys don't even know what pre-filtration is.
I was about to say in simple terms, rainwater harvesting, am I incorrect? Let me be the naive one, all
Yes.
right? Correct me. We wait for rain to come,
Is
we capture it, and then we process that water ready for consumption.
yeah, but now you can pre-filter that water before it even hits the tank.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
so there's simple things. So you got your gutters, so you can put
yes.
gutter guards in place to really start filtering. There's things called, I'm not going to go into the
Yes.
training now, but there's first flush system, maelstroms, etc., that already pre-filters the water before it enters
Yeah,
the tank.
yeah.
And then you've got your post-filtration
Yes.
process when it comes out of that tank and into your house, and you can drink it. So while this is not a rainwater harvesting session,
Yes, but it's important
but
to
it's
know about
important
it.
to know
Yeah.
that it's
yeah.
out there. It's one of the solutions that people can be looking at. We have done projects where we combining borehole with rainwater and municipal as a backup. We've just finished a project which is a combination of borehole and municipal. I think it's 80% borehole, 20% municipal as a backup in case something happens with the borehole.
Yeah.
But we've worked, and this is the important thing is, and this is where I say you have to be humble. Hey, we have grown so much as a business through understanding that we don't know it all. Coming back to what you started with.
Yes.
If you have a know-it-all attitude, you're just going to always
Limit yourself. Yeah.
limit yourself to what you know. So we get involved. So in that project, we worked with borehole specialists. We worked with filtration specialists. We had an uplifter, called Ruben, involved in that project.
Yeah.
Etc.
Yeah.
So we will surround ourselves with the experts. I'm going to say again, if you're the cleverest person in the room,
Something's
you're
wrong.
in the wrong room.
Yeah.
We have always involved, if we're going to go into a project, we try and find out who are the experts in that field, and we will bring them on board to, sometimes they're not directly involved in the project, but they're there for us to bounce questions,
Yes.
etc. So you've got to be open to learning. You've got to be open to asking questions. You've got to be brave.
Yes.
Because a lot of the guys won't ask questions because they think, oh,
Might
You know?
sound like
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough. People, you're worried about how people are gonna view you, whereas there's
Yeah.
no stupid question. There's no
Exactly.
such thing as a dumb question. I think we're gonna need a part 2 for this. You know, I can tell you right now we're gonna need a part 2 for this. But there's a reason why we went from here to here to here, so that we can try and give as much information as
Yeah.
possible. And I know there's no doubt about it. You know, we're gonna put a part 2 into this. I'm gonna hit you with something off the grid again. Female participation. All right. I know for me, it's part of it hits my heart. I know for you, without a doubt. All right. How much value are women gaining out of this? You know, I know we're about to wrap things up, but it's so important. I don't want to talk about female participation just in August because it's Women's Month. You know, we have to continuously punch that topic so that people can start understanding this industry is not just male orientated. Trades are not just gender specific. You know, what one gender can add, so can the other. You know, there's value that can be brought in. We know that there's still a lot of growth that has to come in and participation with females, but judging from your side as a queen contributing into this industry, and I'm sure you're developing, is there an interest from young ladies? Are they gaining from these initiatives that you guys are giving? And are we going to see some sort of result in the future?
So I'm going to answer you this way because we said keep it real.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep it real. There is so much scope. I'm going to start by saying there is so much scope for women to get involved in our industry.
Yeah.
Okay. I am also going to say it depends on, just like with anyone, it's going to be your attitude towards it.
Yeah.
It's going to be how you approach it. It's going to be what you make of it.
Yeah.
And how you grab it by the hands and get the most out of that opportunity. I'm also going to say when we talk about women in plumbing, it doesn't only mean women plumbers.
Yes.
Okay? There are women entrepreneurs. There are women running plumbing companies,
Yes.
etc. In marketing, in all spheres. I look here at PIRB.
Yes.
For me, the people running PIRB over here are all
it's
the women.
90%. Yeah.
90, more than 90%. And they are amazing
Phenomenal.
Contributors
Yes.
to our industry.
Yeah.
Okay? So let's also understand what we mean by women in plumbing. But when we want to boil down specifically to female plumbers, so we took on, we made a commitment to when we take on apprentices, we take on female apprentices.
Yes.
And I'm going to say I've experienced both sides. I've experienced the female apprentices who've come in, they've put their heart into it. It's challenging. They've had to overcome the stereotypes in the industry. Maybe they're not going to like me for saying this, but let's be frank. God created us differently, physically. So they've got to put more skin in the game when it comes to the physical side of it and prove themselves. But I've seen female apprentices come into our business and do whatever they need to do to overcome and I'm going to talk about our own male teams. And they overcome the what's the word I'm looking for? The idea that those teams had when they came in.
Yes.
They looked at us saying, female apprentices, you know, what they can't do this, they're not going to be able to dig, they're not going to be, and they've overcome that.
Yes.
But I've also sadly seen female apprentices come in and not take the opportunity, who've not given it their all, who've not, because when we have anyone in our business, we train them it's not just about them learning the plumbing skills. We have sessions every single week internally for our staff, to coach. And we've seen them some taking it on board and some just sitting and being there for the sake of being there. I don't know. I don't want to talk about the reasons behind it. 100%. I don't know what it is. So I'm going to say that, and it's hard, that breaks my heart because I'm passionate about the whole female in plumbing component and what we are trying to achieve, both at a PIRB, our OPSA industry level, and within our business and our target. So I'm going to say to the female plumbers, apprentices who are already out there and maybe people who are considering, if you're going to do something, like I say, excellence is one of our values.
Yes.
Just put your skin in the game.
Give it your all.
Give it your all. Give it your passion. Is it going to be easy? No, it's not. Okay, but nothing worth having in life is ever easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so the greatest challenges become your greatest opportunity.
Woo.
And so
Can you say that again? Can you say, you gotta say that again. I mean, come on. Your greatest challenges
become your greatest opportunities.
Come on, man.
And so when you see a challenge, don't see it as a challenge. Don't see as an issue, something that you've overcome. See it as an opportunity. It's an opportunity to learn something new, to grow, to get to know something that you didn't know before, to engage with people you didn't know before, in industries you might not have, or products you haven't used before, etc. There are just so many different examples to give. But make your challenges your opportunity.
I love that. You know what? I already know I've got a warning from our executive producer, because I looked at the time and she's probably hinting behind going, hey. But I'd rather get a warning for this, because there's so much value coming out of this conversation. And that's why I had to, there's no ways we're going to wrap up the conversation without touching on the female contributing factor. And at some point, I want us to get to a point where we stop looking at it as a gender thing. Saying female plumbers, man, we must speak of a plumber.
Of a plumber, I absolutely
agree. That's it. This is a plumber. If it's a female, it's a male. We look at them the same.
And
Same
I've heard
respect.
Lorraine Moy saying that often, and I mean, she is someone that stands out there as an example of what I'm saying female plumbers should aspire to. I
use people like Mandy Kiel, Lorraine Moy, Jabulile Nkosi, Marlies van Asviegen.
Amen.
See, I know the ladies in the industry that are adding value, and they should be more. They certainly should be more. That's why if you're a young lady looking and watching this right now, be inspired, but take initiative. You must take the step. No one's going to force you, right? Mandy, before we wrap it up, I want you to, if we've left on anything that you feel that we have to mention, what do you want to touch on to sum it up, and words of encouragement? Words of encouragement.
Okay, I think we've spoken about a lot of things this morning, and some of it might sound big and overwhelming. Okay, so I just want to say to the guys out there, start small. Take that one step. If there's anything that I've learned is, if there's something that you've identified in your business, in your career path that you need to grow in, whether it is in running your business or whether it is a technical thing that you're wanting to do, take that one thing and break it down and create a structure, create a consistency, saying, this is how I'm going to achieve it.
Yes.
Okay, so, and then try and put 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever you can, every day into that one thing.
Focal point.
Very important. Find a mentor. Find a coach wherever you are. Someone who knows more than you. Someone who is going to keep you accountable. To that growth. So if you've identified that thing, you share that with your mentor, and they're going to ask you, so how's it going? Keeping you accountable. And never, ever give up. There's another thing that I've learned. It's not my saying. Okay? But it's consistency over perfection.
Come on.
So no one is ever perfect. You can never be perfect. You're never going to reach perfection, but you can be consistent. Even if you're giving it 5 minutes a day, give it. And you're going to sometimes wake up on a morning and that 5 minutes is not there, your child's sick, something happens, whatever the case is. But then don't let that deter you. Don't say, oh, I didn't do it yesterday, so now I'm going to stop. Keep going. Get up the next day and do it again.
Momentum. Until it's a lifestyle, a norm. Culture, tradition.
Exactly.
Oh, man, D, we're going to have a part 2 in this. There's no ways we're going to have a part 2. But I just want to say, like I said it before, you're adding so much value. Big shout out to yourself, Duncan, the whole team. Really, there's so many people benefiting out of this. When we go to road shows, when we have our World Plumbing Days, which we're having, the people that are here, and when they see Duncan, you can see it's like, I don't know what to give you, but just to say thank you. And I'm speaking on behalf of those who perhaps can't describe the impact that you've had on their lives. You've done phenomenal, guys. Where can people get a hold of you, and how do they start?
So to get hold of us, we've got our UPP website, www.uppg.coza. There's our Facebook page. Our contact details. You want me to share my contact details here?
We can do that. Or I can put it on the screen.
I'll give it to you. You can put it on the screen.
Put it on the screen.
But we are contactable. We're available, and we just want to help.
Come on. And you guys have been amazing. We're giving you your roses. And for you as well, as a key contributing queen. Thank you so much, Mandy. Once again, to all our viewers back at home, ladies and gentlemen, I told you, 2024 is coming with greatness. And if you watch this episode properly, you'll be more than inspired. You'll be uplifted, empowered holistically. And you guys have done a phenomenal job. I'll keep on saying that. From our side, thank you for joining us on Next Gen Plumbers, and just in case you forgot who she is, she's the co-owner of the UPP Group, also part of Coach Up. And I mean, her attributes and her lists, the list of her attributes are endless. Mandy Kiel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Rendani.
Thank you so much. On my side, you know how I close it off, right? Thank you for watching Next Gen Plumbers. We're all about futuristic thinking of the plumbing industry. Yes, we are embracing what's happening now, but we are visionary. So until next time, I go by the name of Rendani Tshivhula, aka Randy, your number one MC. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Mandy, you gotta say yes, man, with me. Yes, man.